Last week I reviewed the Honda Passport TrailSport, and Honda's seeing about an 80% take rate for the TrailSport on the Passport. Now it's time to give it to this refreshed 2026 Honda CR-V. So today we're gonna drive it in town, a little bit on the highway, and also off-road to see how capable the new CR-V TrailSport Hybrid really is. This TrailSport trim only comes in hybrid form. So what you're seeing here is Honda's 2-liter, 2-motor hybrid system. It feels very snappy, very smooth. And with all this padding on top of this hood and all the things Honda has done to this engine bay, it's made for a very quiet and smooth experience. You'll see that when we start driving. Now this TrailSport is all-wheel drive only, so that's gonna be great for the TrailSport people out there, but keep in mind all-wheel drive does add weight, and it adds a little bit of a hit in fuel economy. All right, so we're seeing about 38 miles per gallon in town, 35 combined, and only, oh, there she goes, 33 on the highway. So if you're looking for the best fuel economy in a CR-V, the TrailSport's not it, but it gives you the best of, I guess you could say, both worlds, on and off-road, of course, with these big tires. You can still get the 1.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo models that have about 190 horsepower mated to a CVT. But my testing, the hybrid's always a more enjoyable experience, and you get better fuel economy. Right away up front, you're gonna notice that the TrailSport is unique. Of course, it has the orange and black TrailSport badge. We have a nice gloss black grille here, and this ash green pearl paint color is a TrailSport exclusive. It actually debuted on the Passport TrailSport just a couple months ago. And since 2023, every single Honda CR-V Hybrid has these squarish little intake features. They are functional. I can see through them just a little bit. But what's unique also to this TrailSport is this silver cladding here at the bottom to kind of give you an illusion of a skid plate, but there is actually no additional skid plates on this, nor is there any additional ground clearance compared to other all-wheel drive hybrid CR-Vs. This is the first time we've ever seen all-terrain tires from the factory on a Honda CR-V. All-terrain, Continental, cross-contact, they are 235 by 60. 18-inch, they call it shark gray alloy wheels on the inside here. You can get 18-inch wheels across the lineup. The Sport Touring will give you the 19-inch wheels. And since it's the first time we've seen all-terrain tires on a CR-V, what's it gonna ride like? Well, we'll find out here in a little bit. As we look at the side of the vehicle, we have blacked out roof rails, which are standard on this TrailSport. The window surrounds are glossy black, which is new for all CR-V hybrids for 2026. They have a nice blacked out window surround. I'm a big fan of blacked out mirrors, blacked out handles here on this TrailSport. The bottom is not glossy black. Even though we saw that front bumper was glossy black, they have kept a more rugged matte black here on the wheel arches and the bottom finishings, which is good because you don't want that glossy black to get scratched if you take it out on the trail. The CR-V continues with its beautiful, iconic LED D-pillar headlights. These D-pillar style headlights go back all the way to the first generation CR-V. However, this turn indicator is still an incandescent bulb, which some of you are perfectly fine with. I enjoy that the TrailSport has the blacked out CR-V badge and hybrid badge, which is new for 2026. Previously, you would see them in a silver finishing. And speaking of that silver, we do have a silver finish here at the bottom, or gray, to kind of match that front bumper at the very bottom, that skid plate identity. However, that exhaust port is a dummy. This is the only real one that I can see. Morning, sorry. Thank you. And here we have the TrailSport badge, just in case you didn't see it on the front end. We do have an automated liftgate here on the Honda CR-V TrailSport, and if you want the kick sensor one, I think you can get that on the top trim Sport Touring. Look how much space back here. This is something that blew me away when this generation CR-V debuted a few years back. It is still massive. So there's your fix-a-flat kit, no spare tire here. And for a TrailSport model, that might be something you guys would be interested. You do have space back here if you want a spare tire, but I think you're gonna have to pay extra for it. What you don't have to pay extra for is this nice accessory power. And I like how there's LED lights on each end, and these big windows back here. Honda didn't have to include these big windows in the very back, right? Because there's no one back here to enjoy them. That might help with reducing blind spots, but you can also see that there's a tonneau cover attachment that can be slotted into there. Seats fold down 60/40. Getting in the back seat here, pretty basic materials on the door panel, but we do have a nice orange stitching and leather pointed armrest there. Cloth seats here on this TrailSport. Oh, there goes the train. Headroom in here, you got to keep in mind the battery pack is kind of sitting under these seats. So is my headroom limited? And no, I kind of have this nice bubble here. This does not have a pano roof. I believe, actually, I don't think any of the trims get a pano roof. I thought they used to, but they don't. Not even on the Sport Touring Top Grade. We do have 2 vents back here and 2 USB-Cs. And standard, of course, even in the back seat are these nice all-weather floor liners. Folding the armrest down, we have 2 smaller sized cup holders back here. But again, you still have storage in the door if you need more. Handles above to brace yourselves when this is thrown through the mountainous turns. And of course, Honda has not skimped on the legroom. Behind the steering wheel, we have an all new, at least for the CR-V, because you see it on other models, they just got out of the Passport that had this 10-inch screen. But fully digital 10-inch screen, not on all the models, but this TrailSport has it. And now we also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wireless with this new 9-inch screen here. And that is standard even on the base model. On the Sport Touring, you do get an even further upgraded screen with Google built in, with its own map software. And I can confirm that there is no Sirius XM anymore in here, as you guys can see the lack thereof of it. Now what we have here is nothing short of impressive. There's no glossy black really in this vehicle. There's a little bit of a reflective pattern here, but it has some texture to it, so it's going to break up any light that's going to be reflected off of that. You have a little bit around this area, around the shifter, but look, the shifter all matte black. So it's from a functional and just a non-distracting experience. The CR-V is a home run from an ergonomic experience too. The tactile and enjoyable clicks and sounds that you get from this simple and very intuitive climate control. I want every car to have climate control as good as this. It's not hard to implement. Honda has figured out that it's so good. They have it on the Civic, they have it even on the Acura lineup, they have it in the Pilot, the Passport. They're slapping it on everything because it's that good. All right, so very happy with the climate control settings in here and interaction. These vents, yeah, even the vents have clicks. USB-C here, if you want to do wired Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You also have another USB-C here. Wireless charger, which I think, I'll double check, but I think it might be standard throughout the lineup with a nice rubber mat around there. Again, big fan of the traditional shifter with the orange stitching here. And no TrailSport would be complete without a little bit of TrailSport attention on the seats here. On the headrest, of course we have it stitched in there, but you have nice stitching around with the orange, and doesn't stop there. It goes into the armrest and of course on the outside of the seats. And I like how the TrailSport offers heated seats standard here, but they're cloth. They're not going to be hot, sticky, like you see maybe on the Sport L or the Sport Touring. Those seats are perforated, but they don't have ventilation. All right, so these seats are going to be some of the coolest in the CR-V lineup, not meaning cool as in hip, but just breathe well on your back and lower body. Steering wheel is also fantastic. We have orange stitching around, baseball stitching, a nice heated steering wheel too. And we have paddle shifters to go through 4 different regen levels of braking, because this is a hybrid. And some of their competitors don't allow you to adjust the regen level of braking. Honda does it. It's not one pedal driving, but it does a really good job of bringing the vehicle to a stop, or should I say to a slower speed, because it won't bring it to a stop entirely. But it is a very smooth and predictable and on and off experience with that regen braking. And let's not forget, before we get out of here, the TrailSport mats up front, they have their own logo. The back seat did not with those mats. This up front gives you more attention to detail. Yeah, we're in sport mode in the CR-V TrailSport. I'm here with Charlie from the Daily Motor. Check out his amazing channel. We're gonna do some 0 to 60s. Now, you might be able to see there are mountains here, and it's like a flat road is fairly difficult in these Orange Grove areas. So we're gonna go up the road and do one down the road, and we'll average the two to get our 0 to 60. I think that's logical enough. All right, let's try it, Charlie.
Got AC off.
Ooh, AC off?
Uh-huh. No, yeah.
I even turned the fan off.
There we go. We need all the juice we can get.
Yeah.
You like brake torque or no brake torque? Probably not with this
whatever
system.
you want to do.
I think we should be good with this.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Honda engines sound good. Definitely uphill. That was 11.32 with a roughly 5% grade. All right, we're coming to a stop. We're gonna go downhill this time.
I think we got a better jump on that one.
It helps going downhill. 6.79.
I'm gonna go back up.
You're going to go back up?
Yeah, because did you notice how the transmission acted different in that one? It held it. I think it recognized that we were launching that one because I did a little brake.
Oh, you torque brake that one just a little bit?
Just slightly. It was just a release.
Changing the parameters, Charlie, as on the fly.
No,
changing the rules, making up the rules as we go.
It's science. Right. You gotta try a different way.
All right. So we're gonna torque brake here, going uphill. The first time we didn't do that.
I'm saying 9 seconds.
Oh, I'm gonna say 10.7. It's a little bit better that time. 9.51.
So we split the difference.
I said what, 9.7?
I thought you said 10.
Did I say 10? Maybe I said 10. I don't even know.
Check the footage.
I don't even know. All right, so
either way, Trailsport, not a speed demon.
No, but probably like an 8 seconds, something like that. I'll put the average on the screen for you guys. You can see how this is very empirical without any error. So there you have the 0 to 60 on the Trailsport. And the big tires make a difference. They do. You can't figure out where you're going because we're going to the casino. First two things I noticed when I started driving the CR-V Trailsport. The first thing I noticed is that, of course, I'm comfortable in here. The seat's comfortable. I have good visibility. Like I said, the ergonomics here are just fantastic with the buttons, the knobs, the shifter, everything's just so like where it should be. But I will say the second thing I noticed is that this CR-V Trailsport is firm. And I know the streets aren't perfect here in Encinitas or Leucadia. You guys will know. I'm not a local around here. It could be Leucadia. This street is pretty bumpy. It's pretty rough, and you feel it. Or it's ironic because there's a sticker on the sign in front of me that the camera's not going to pull up here. I'll take a picture of it, and it says bump. So when I said bumpy, there's a sticker that says bump. Sound systems. The base CR-V Sport Hybrid has a 6-speaker audio system. The Trailsport has an 8-speaker. I think the Sport L also has an 8-speaker, and then you get a 12-speaker system on the Bose. Now I have listened to this with my California rap music, a little Snoop Dre, a little Ice Cube, and I think this 8-speaker is actually pretty good. Honestly, I would not think of that I would need the Bose. All right, just keep that in mind, right? The Bose is going to be a better experience. It's going to have more volume. It's going to have better clarity, but don't think this 8-speaker system is trash. Now, I can't speak for the 6-speaker system. I haven't tested that. It's probably fine, all right, but the 8-speaker here actually kind of surprised me. One of my favorite things about a hybrid: no engine, no vibration, no engine noise at a stop. It's beautiful. As we follow this NV200, only thing I can't hear anything. There's no engine running. All right, it's just dead silent. But there is a pedestrian warning. Okay, so it's silent for my ears. It's not too intrusive like something like in the Prologue EV from Honda that has a really loud pedestrian warning. And the engine just kicked in, and I can't feel any vibrations from it. I couldn't really notice it kicking in and rattling the car. Honda's implementation, and it just turned back off. It's just so smooth with turning on and off that I almost have to strain myself to see if it's on. All right, there is an EV icon here on the 10-inch screen that will tell me if the engine is off, which is nice. But like, it's just such a quiet implementation with the engine on and off in this vehicle. It's so smooth. It still might be, even 3 years later after this came out, this generation of hybrid for Honda came out, I think it still might be the smoothest strong hybrid out there. All right, I really want to test obviously the new RAV4's hybrid system, the 5th gen system there, to see how big of a jump it is. I know it's really good in the camera, and it comes awfully close to Honda's smoothness and quietness and refinement. This is a luxury powertrain. So think about, yes, this, like a hybrid CR-V costs about $2,500 more if you look at a sport compared to like an EX or something like that. I forget the trim levels on the turbo because I don't like the turbo model. But the hybrid models cost only $2,500 more, yet giving you way better fuel economy, a way better luxurious experience, a smoother experience, and a more powerful experience too. And just hitting that speed bump at speed, I feel like that's what this TrailSport suspension is very happy doing. It wants bigger obstacles to run over. The small things in the road, I feel like these all-terrain tires don't like that. As soon as I hit broken pavement, again, it's a very firm experience. You feel the small things in here. It feels like a very solid vehicle. There's nothing shaking or rattling in here. You just feel the imperfections, right? And that might be a good thing, especially if you're off-roading. You want to feel the road, and I get that, and I do feel that with this all-terrain tires. But again, as I hit this, I'm gonna hit at speed. It's just like, it's just perfect for the bigger things. And also, I almost can completely forgive the TrailSport for being firm when I throw it in the turns, because it handles unbelievably well for a mid-size crossover. It is so good. And then the brakes, sometimes brakes can be weird on a hybrid. No, not here. The brakes here are Honda smoothness, Honda refinement, and nothing weird going on. So brakes, 10 out of 10. Handling and steering feel, it shouldn't exist in a vehicle of this price point. Because none of its competitors, maybe a CX-5 come close with the steering, but that vehicle is fantastic, but it just needs a hybrid. And this has that hybrid. Over 50% of the CR-V has remained hybrid since this generation launched in 2023, and they sold more than 400,000 CR-Vs last year for the first time, I think, ever for the Honda CR-V. And sales up in 2025. So they're like up, I think, 9% in CR-V in 2025. So this vehicle is Honda's cash cow. It is so good, so smooth, so, well, is it good on the highway? And I think it's time to throw it in and test it there. And remember our regen paddles here? In drive mode, they kind of vanish, meaning after you apply it and you come to a stop, it resets. All right, but if you're in B mode, battery mode, or I think it's battery mode, it will keep your regen, all right, on all the time, which I really, really enjoy. Fuel economy, guys, my results are not gonna be indicative, right? Because I just idled this doing my walk around of it for maybe 10-15 minutes. All right, so it says I'm getting 37 miles per gallon over the last 11.7 miles. I'm getting, if I wasn't idling it or letting it sit for 15-20 minutes or whatever it was, then it would be over 40 miles per gallon. Now that's all in town, all right, and that's where Honda's hybrids are really strong, is in town. All right, but what I'm gonna do here is, we know that the CR-V TrailSport struggles, as I didn't think to get around this street sweeper in time because I was resetting my clock. We know that the CR-V hybrid can struggle with, there, I got around him. I eventually got around him. It's so smooth. Holy cow. It's not impressive power, by any means. In town, it's very snappy, all right, but again, on the highway, the engine's actually tying into the wheels a little bit more. So if I'm going about 67 pedal down uphill, you still have a lag, all right? You have to wait for the engine to start spinning the motor generator to provide enough juice for the electric drive motor, right? Because the engine can only provide 145 horsepower or so, and it needs all the torque and power that it can get from that electric drive motor with 181 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. All right, how does it feel now that I'm out on the highway? All right, the TrailSport. Well, I'm not getting any tire noise from these all-terrain tires. So bravo, very smooth out here on the highway. I get a lot of, I wouldn't say wind noise. I'm not getting any weird wind buffeting, but I know this road, I've driven it before. This road is really noisy. Now, I'm not getting tire noise from my car, but I can hear the cars around me. Is it acceptable for this price point? And the answer is absolutely. If not, really, really good for the price point. I'm going 72, and I can just use my Honda sensing here, lock in cruise control. Oh, I need to be in drive. It wants me to be out of the B mode. All right, and cruise control set at 72, and it's just smooth. I can put my lane centering technology on. All right, and how's it doing with that? It's doing okay. I'm just going straight, but I have used it in turns before, and it does well there too. All right, so CR-V, good highway mile muncher. But look, my fuel economy as I get off the freeway for that short stint was about 25 to 27 miles per gallon. All right, EPA estimate on the highway is 33. It really is going to depend how fast you're going. Do you have hills, that sort of thing. I'm going to take this yellow, and that's, I mean, I will never hesitate to take a yellow right-hand turn with the CR-V because the handling is so dialed in, and there's such pleasing dynamics with the suspension, right? I do have an independent rear. It just feels so comfortable. It's playful. And the TrailSport doesn't give up any of its cornering capabilities. In fact, maybe it might improve them. This, like I said, these tires feel very, very firm, even though they're all terrains. So maybe it actually adds to the handling. It just feels really good in the turns. What else can I say? Now that we've done some city and highway driving, and it exceeds at both of those, it's just that the fuel economy in the highway is going to be less than stellar. And in town, it's probably going to be still close to 40 miles per gallon. All right, but again, the experience in here is quiet, smooth, luxurious, comfortable, and inviting, right, with the controls in here. But how does it perform off-road? This is a TrailSport. Can it handle the trail? Honda, can you make the CR-V a off-road rascal? Well, let's find out. Now, the moment of truth. We know it's a bit firm on the roads with these all-terrain tires, but overall it's a really comfortable vehicle. Moment of truth here now that we're taking it a little bit off-road. All right, it's time to talk about the off-roading chops. Obviously, first ever all-terrain tires. The valve stem on the 18-inch wheel here is recessed, so you're less likely to snag your valve stems on protruding rocks and stuff. We have a much improved all-wheel drive system. I'm going to play some B-roll for you guys with Honda showing us a roller, or my friends over at TFL. They've kind of, I don't know if they pioneered the roller system, but they're the only ones that do it that I'm aware of. We also have downhill sync control here, all right? Okay. Slow down, sorry. Thank you. I was at 2 mile an hour with downhill sync control, still a little bit too fast for that part of the road. Downhill sync control can do 2 mile an hour all the way up to 12 mile an hour. All right. So what is downhill sync control or descent control? It's like cruise control for going downhill. And so it won't let the vehicle exceed a certain speed that you have set. Okay, back to the all-wheel drive system with the rollers. The previous model year, it couldn't apply enough brakes to get the traction it needed to the one wheel that it had traction. With the new system, it applies a lot more brake pressure on the tires that are slipping, so that it sends the direct torque to the wheel that does have traction. All right, so Honda showed that little off-roady section for us and demo, and here we are with the TrailSport. Now, the TrailSport doesn't, its all-wheel drive aspect is not exclusive. Ooh, so I don't know if you guys are seeing that. We got some wheel.
Just want to make sure hill descent control is still switched on.
It says on standby.
Just pull forward on the brake pedal and you'll see the little gauge appear.
Okay.
There we go. So just keep going, a little bit more left turn. Keep going, keep going. Go over the brow with the brake and then release about halfway down. All yours.
Okay. There, downhill descent control. It shows up green on my MID here. And that was pretty cool. We got that rear right tire in the air. It's pretty cool. I didn't think a CR-V would be able to do that in the right circumstances. It will. So back to the all-wheel drive on the CR-V for 2026. Every single CR-V that has all-wheel drive, even the base EX or LX or whatever the base trim is on the turbo models, that has this upgraded all-wheel drive logic where we'll apply the correct braking to the wheels that are slipping so that we get enough torque to the wheel that has traction. All right, so whether it's a sport touring or a base turbo, if it has all-wheel drive, hybrid or not, it has this upgraded all-wheel drive. So the TrailSport really, other than the badges and the cladding and the all-terrain tires, the all-terrain tires is the only thing that sets this apart in terms of capability versus a standard CR-V with all-wheel drive. It has 8.2 inches of ground clearance, which is the same with other all-wheel drive CR-Vs. It doesn't have any more horsepower or anything like that. It doesn't have additional cooling. It doesn't have skid plates. It doesn't have, and I hear the motorbikes going next to us, the motocross track. We'll go and play some of that footage for you guys. I really want to be on two wheels, but I'm having a good time here in the CR-V. So yeah, the TrailSport, like I said, it's really just an extra sport trim with fatter, meatier tires, a nice paint color as an option with this ash green, and we're coming on our brakes here, and I love the brakes again in the CR-V. You know, there are no additional lockers here. There's no center locking differential, for example, on this all-wheel drive system. It does not have the IVTM4 that we see on the Pilot, the Passport, the Ridgeline. So it's all-wheel drive system. It's not nearly as robust as the large platform Honda models in the Honda lineup. All right, but light off-roading such as this is no problem for the CR-V. All right, and no additional suspension tuning, no skid plates, no lockers, nothing like that. All right, it's mainly an appearance package with nice tires on it and a nice paint color. And is that enough? I think so. I think buyers don't care. Most buyers of the CR-V, they're not taking it anywhere close to this. As we watch this CR-V, the left tire get in the air. Most buyers of the CR-V are never pushing it close to its limits, and it is very capable compared to what most people are doing. Thank you. Cool. So getting that downhill descent control or hill descent control active at 2 miles an hour. If I want it to speed up, I'm not getting it with the paddle shifters, to be honest. All right. I think it's with the brake pedal and the gas pedal. That's how it is in the Passport. Is it to adjust the mile per hour on your downhill or hill descent control? It's with the brake pedal and gas pedal. I'm still not very familiar with it. All right. The engine just turned on. I can barely notice it, to be honest, because the battery charge is a little low. I can see the state of charge of the battery. It's always on at the far end. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but the far end of the display MID area, opposite of your fuel gauge. So for 2026, it is a refresh in the mildest sense. And we have this addition of this really cool ash green paint color with the TrailSport badging, the TrailSport addition to the CR-V lineup. The CR-V, why mess with what's not broken, if that makes sense? Don't fix what's not broken. That's what Honda's done here. They sold over 400,000 of these last year. They did a small refresh. They made the tech a little bit better screens. They made the all-wheel drive a little bit better. They gave us a fun new trim level and a fun new paint color. Now can we get an SI CR-V? Is that too much to ask? A Type R? Probably. But I don't think a plug-in hybrid is out of the equation. Maybe I'll keep my fingers crossed for a plug-in hybrid CR-V that's not a fuel cell. In the meantime, this hybrid's pretty darn good.